Welcome back, everybody. It's Creative Redundancy back again. The one known as CR. Quick mic check, like usual. Give me a 5x5 over on the side chat if you can hear me while I wait for some people to join me here. And I have something very special for this stream, by the way. You know, you might have seen something like this before, but on this stream, you're gonna see something even more. Yeah, I've been working on it. That's why it took me a little bit longer to jump into this because I actually had to give some support over on their channel for a little bit and check up on them, by the way. So yes, it's gonna be a content creator type of stream here. And on this stream, I'm gonna talk about, well, content creating, of course. It includes ideas, practices, or best practices, editing, all that stuff, all that jazz. You know, I'm no expert in it, but as a content creator, I picked up a few things along the way as I've been doing this kind of stuff. You know, hello, Howie, I see you in there, man. Like I said, give me a 5x5 on the side chat for the audio, because I actually have something special in mind for this. That's why it actually took me a little bit longer to... Hey, Shawnee, I see you in there. Well, I guess no one's complaining, so the audio must be good enough. Yeah. Yes, because I'm using the Prism Live app again for this, because I could do things like this. Make it more dramatic. So hopefully you guys are all doing well. I like I said, I do have something special. I'm just waiting for some more people to join. Something I made specifically for this stream. Yes, I made specific content specifically for this live stream. That's super awesome. Shawnee. Yeah, I know, I just said that. But sometimes a little bit of humor does actually help, by the way. You know, a little bit of humor every so often kind of helps, right? As a content creator, you know, even as a viewer, right? You know, watching and stuff like that, sometimes a little bit of humor can go a little bit a long ways, right? Right? Where everyone feels relaxed, enjoys the stream, finds value in it, right? Of course, if you find value in what I'm doing, or eventually we'll be talking about, you know, do all that awesome stuff, thumbs up, subscription thing, and all that stuff, follow me, and all that stuff, right? Hello, Sunflower. What did that say? Yeah. You guys are blowing me away with all this thumbs up and comments on the side chat right here. Yeah, I know, I had to say that. So, you know, a content creator, right? I mean, I know many of you are content creators. You know, you create your own content for your own kind of specific genre or niche or whatever, right? I mean, I do my own stuff too, just like everyone else out there, right? You guys have your own style. You do your own thing, right? Whatever it is. You know, there's the gaming channels out there. There's the food videos out there. There's those haul videos out there that people do, the prepping channels, the survivalism, bushcrafting, cooking, gardening type of channels, right? That many of you are aware of and stuff like that. I mean, I've said this before, I used to actually run a gaming channel before. Long time ago, by the way. Back in like 07. I know, like 17 years ago. Long time ago. Long time ago. You know, I had success over there, you know, and stuff like that. And then I kind of, well, for lack of a better word, I kind of lost access to that channel, and I started this channel and dived into the creation mode of things, right? Because on this channel, I create, clearly. Hey, Sunflower, I might as well start using all these CR words, just like how you said earlier. I might as well just cover them now, right? You know, and just tie it all together. So yes, hopefully you guys are all doing well, like I said. And like I said, this stream is about content creation. I've been looking forward to this stream actually, especially ever since I started making it and setting it up, right? And you're gonna see something like this. I'm just waiting for a little bit more people to join so you can see it. Something I made. It actually took me a while to actually set it up. I'm like, hopefully it'll be done before the stream starts. I'm like, I just squeezed in enough time. I'm like, yes, just enough time to do it, because literally, you'll see, you can sort of see it on the top left hand corner right now. I have it paused right now, but and stuff like that, and I just kind of made it like literally in the last hour. Like literally, I just kind of whipped it together real quick. Something in the real world with a little bit of editing and some other things. It's totally real, by the way, and totally like not scripted. I decided to add. Once you see it, you'll be like, oh. I mean, there's other content creators out there that are like doing karaoke and stuff like that, or whatever, right? I mean, like they do that kind of thing along the lines with their other stuff that they do. They kind of, for lack of a better word, kind of explore some other ideas or diversify to something else, right? However, for the most part, they have their own core channel of content, whatever it is, right? I mean, for me here, it is always gonna be about creation, making something, putting something together. Just like how I'm putting this stream together, and just like how you're gonna see this video clip very, very shortly. All right, Howie, it's all good. One of the there's a lot of content creators out there. There's so many out there, so many niches and stuff like that. And honestly, some of the niches overlap, and some of these channels overlap on their content and stuff like that. I know the preparedness community kind of overlaps on the gardening community. Some of the preparedness community overlaps on the bushcrafting community and the survivalism type of community. And some people, they do a lot of live streams, and some of these channels actually do gaming on the side too, and while they're doing something, they're playing whatever kind of game and stuff like that, right? Like I said, I used to run a gaming channel a long time ago. Like, technically it still exists because I don't have access to it, and yeah, it still technically exists because the last time I checked, I had like 250,000 views at times on some of those videos, right? But that's a long time ago. Totally different now, right? Hopefully I can gain that same success over on this channel. That'd be nice. Hey, Huga, how are you doing? CB's in the house. It's nice to see you. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. And, let's dive into kind of like why start a YouTube channel, or why do content creation? I know I'm doing this specifically on YouTube, but on the other platforms or whatever, right? In general, why do be a content creator, right? Well, I know some people, they want to do it for fun. Some people want to do it as a business. Some people want to just do it, right? They just want to spread their ideas out there, connect with the community. Some people I've seen in the community, they never initially had a channel. I mean, honestly, everyone has a channel, but they initially didn't have content on their channel, and then they kind of, dropped a few videos, dropped a few community board things, and the next thing you know, they're doing videos, and the next thing you know, they're putting out more content, the next thing you know, they're doing a live stream. Just like one of these people that are in my chat right now. Yeah, I'm working on that. Sunflowers, by the way. I'm working on that coffee. I actually have to make it. I didn't even have a chance to make it. Actually, I'm gonna do that right now. It's one of the things, So, like I said, grab a coffee or a drink or whatever, tea or whatever, and sit back and enjoy this show, right? And hear me out, right? There's so many videos out there about, you know, I, you can, there's a lot of videos out there talking about ideas, because honestly, as a content creator, there's requirements, such as the camera. Editing's not totally mandatory, but a camera is kind of mandatory to a certain degree. Well, if not a camera, something to voice over. If not that, then some sort of tech or whatever, phone, computer, whatever, to actually do that editing with, right? Because I know there's some channels out there that kind of faceless channels, right? The faceless channels out there that never show their face or whatever, right? And they're maybe storytelling or something like that. Maybe there's channels out there like that do like drawings and stuff like that, where they're drawing and they're showing you how to draw something really cool, as a how-to. Of course, there's the how-to videos out there and stuff like that they want to do whatever it is. Maybe it's some sort of fabrication, woodworking, teaching you or showing you how to cook something, make something, whip something up, make something, dehydrate something, learn how to garden. There's plenty of videos out there that you can learn from, and they do it so they can teach people, educate people, and stuff like that. And people kind of follow them, subscribing and all that stuff, and kind of watch their content because they're interested in that kind of content. I mean, it could be gardening, it could be the gaming community, it could be the preparedness community, it could be the food community. Oh wait, actually, sometimes the food community just overlaps a lot of them for some reason. So I've seen with my own eyes. Good afternoon, Jason. Welcome, everyone. I gave you guys the wrenches, the moderator, so you can actually check each other out and all that good jazz, right? But all these things after the tech and that the reasoning for actually starting a channel and the gear that you quote unquote need to a certain degree, right? Because obviously you're uploading it, right? You need an internet connection. Maybe you're going to a library or public Wi-Fi or whatever, some place that you can upload it, right? I mean, lots of people from all forms of life, probably every single country, various age groups, male, female, whatever, they're a content creator, right? People that are homeless from, people that are like more wealthy, right? People that want to show something and people that want to learn something through, and they want to, how do I say this? Almost like a blog, right? They want to blog it out vlog it out, right? Or blog it out and show, this is in the day of what I do, such as making coffee, for example, which I'm going to do right now, as soon as I put the water in. Yes, water, right? I mean, I've already made videos like that before. So, after all that, you need ideas, right? Maybe your first video you put out is just kind of like an introduction to what you do on the channel, for example. Or it's just like something, okay, we'll start with this, right? Whatever it is, this first premiere type of video that you show on the channel, right? And, if you've already been been around on the community, on the side chats, live chats, or whatever, you'd be like, hey, I'm starting a video, I'm gonna start a video, and people will be like, oh, yeah, right, and they'll, subscribe in, or at least check out the content before subscribing and leave you a comment and stuff like that, right? But it always starts back to that idea. And it's when you have ideas, especially ideas for videos, you can keep it going. And these ideas, you kind of find inspiration out there, whatever it is. Maybe it's from me, maybe it's from someone else, maybe it's from someone else in the side chat or whatever. You get inspired to want to do this kind of thing where you're just like, you know what? I want to kind of do this. I want to kind of do this too, Show what I do. Whatever it is. If it's gardening, if it's cooking, if it's some sort of DIY, do-it-yourself thing where, you're showing, hey, this is how I made this trellis for this garden, Maybe you're doing this gardening, want to dive into this gardening type of channel kind of niche, as they say, right? And go with that as much as possible, where you just, and you start getting these ideas from how you want to approach it. All right? And you're writing these ideas down, maybe in a notebook or whatever, just kind of brainstorming these ideas, webbing out these ideas. And for example, it's just like, you want to start a gardening channel. We'll go with that because that'll be an easy way that I can explain this. Where, of course, maybe you change your channel name or whatever. Maybe you originally had your channel name as your name or whatever, and you change it out to, let's say, I'll just say gardening with CR, just because it'll be easier if I actually have something to say versus some generic thing, right? And you may, okay, gardening with CR or whatever, right? Or creating a garden or something like that, right? You come up with a name, for example, whatever you want, or, something that describes what you want to do on the channel and stuff like that. And of course, you may look on for our channels and, try to pick up a name or whatever, and stuff like that. I mean, when I first started, because I've explained this before on how I chose this channel name. There's actually multiple reasons why I chose this. The creative part and the redundancy part are actually kind of part of what I do. And no one had the channel name, right? Especially if your channel name's really unique, it's easier for people to find you, for example, right? They're not confusing you with, someone else with the exact same channel name. Because there is channels out there. I know there is, where it's just like, let's say your name is, we'll just use the word Jennifer or Jack or something like that, right? If you say gardening with Jack, well, there might be a lot of channels by that name. Or gardening with Jennifer or whatever, right? There actually might be a lot of channels by that name. And you want to be kind of setting yourself apart from that, right? Where people can find you, right? Where you're a little bit different from it. And I mean, the core aspects of gardening will still be in there, right? But you put your own flair, your own touch, your own personality, your own flavor into it, all right? Whatever it is. And maybe you don't even realize what it is initially until you start doing this and you realize, okay, I'm gonna, maybe tweak this a little bit, maybe add some humor in, and stuff like that. This channel is over here talking about this in, maybe there's a gardening in Jack channel that's in the UK and, you live in the US, right? So you set yourself apart from that. So when people are trying to find you or whatever by searching your channel name or whatever, they can find you and be like, oh, yeah, I heard about this gardening with Jack channel. Oh, but he lives in the US. Oh, this must be it, right? Because you see some sort of icon or a banner that was associated with it and it kind of looks like, oh, this looks more American. This must be the right channel, for example. You went for free name changes before I found. Well, you know what? Sometimes it's like that, Jason. Sometimes you gotta explore that, right? Because being able to find the channel, right? And another reason is so it's easier for people to remember the channel, right? For example, So they'd be like, oh yeah, that channel. Oh yeah, yeah. People just know who you are, kind of deal, right? Especially when you're a smaller channel, for example, you haven't been around on social media that long. Your presence has been well known. You're not in the community. You're just putting your foot into the community, right? Or putting your foot into the water, right? And stuff like that. You're just like, not a lot of people know you, for example. You're just, and you're just trying to get that name out there, right? Or brand of your name, for example. And because, people look at the channel name and, it kind of just, hopefully it describes what you do on the channel as much as possible, right? Whatever it is, right? And I'm not saying just because you choose a certain channel name that you can't expand out, you can, right? But hopefully that core aspect of what you wanted on the channel is still there for the viewers, right? Whatever it is, right? Like, even I went for that, where initially I did tweak, venture off slightly, but I've actually come back to the creation part a little bit more. Because I used to actually, even for me, I used to slide in certain little things, and I've actually gone away from kind of what I call the gear part of the channel. I'm not saying I won't do it anymore or whatever. I kind of came back to my roots on the channel personally, where I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna go back into this DIY creation part even more, and of course all things CR in it. Of course, right? Of course I would cover that. All right. So, something to keep in mind. Now, once you get this channel name and stuff like that, kind of settle it down, where you're kind of convinced and all that stuff. Maybe, you get this banner channel icon going, whatever style you want, right? I know people ask other people to do it for them or whatever, something beyond just that letter icon, right? Something a little bit more personal, customized for it, right? So when our channels see your name in the chats or in the comment section, it just kind of stands out a little bit more, right? It just doesn't look like some generic, or is this just a channel that watches or whatever, something like that. Hi, Iron Fortress, I see you in there. How are you doing? I see you in there. And something like that. So, like I said, so it sets you apart from the other channels out there. Because remember, there's a lot of channels out there. There's a lot of content creators out there, right? You want, metaphorically speaking, you want a piece of that pie, right? So, you're trying to do things that stand out, set you apart, make you a little bit different, even if it's in the same niche like gardening. I'm not using the gardening or the preparedness community as the niche, or to explain this, just because my audience here on this channel. I mean, when you're looking for ideas, for example, right? There's a lot of ways you can approach it, right? Maybe even before you start making videos per se, right? Or putting out your first video, you're already making ideas. Coming up with ideas, having some sort of list of ideas that you can jump into, for example. Oops, sorry. I'm trying to do something on the screen. And you're trying to do something with that stuff right away, where you kind of have, it's one of those things I kind of wish when I started, like, if I heard someone was starting a new channel or whatever, or, hey, if people ask me, hey, what would you do if you started a new channel? I'd be doing the things that I'm doing now, just saying, right? Certain little things. Planning ahead. Even as simple as having some videos in advance, right? Because as a content creator, right, you gotta record, edit, find time to record, set up your stage, do all that stuff. There is some work that goes along with that. Even if you just point and shoot and record, you still have to find the time to actually record the content. Even as simple as, as having a tripod, right? I mean, a tripod is very useful as a content creator, especially if you're actually recording or, recording something like, portrait, well, let me say that again. Face, you're showing yourself, you're showing something, let's say you're showing your gardening or whatever, right? A tripod, relatively inexpensive for what it is. I mean, you could probably get that secondhand too, right? I know gear is not, well, it's not expensive, but it's also not, cheap at times too. So, a simple thing as a tripod can do wonders, right? I mean, a tripod allows you to do things like move your hands, right? Because I've seen, there, and nothing per se wrong with handheld, there's some benefits to it, or, that style of it, right? It looks kind of more personal, but, I mean, sometimes people don't like that camera shake, right? Or you're putting it on the phone. I mean, I've seen, for example, in the preparedness community at times, right? I've seen, these videos where, it's like they're going through a bag, showing some stuff or whatever, showing some gear, and, it's like they're putting down the camera and stuff like that, and the angles and stuff like that. Because, as a watcher, in my opinion, I'm always like, I want to see details or information or something like that, or quote unquote be entertained, for example. Molly says hi. Okay, hi Molly. Sunflowers, that's Jason's significant other, by the way. A raccoon took your tripod. What? Oh, you did get it back. Okay. I see. You're trying to set yourself apart from it, right? Where was it? Oh no, back to the tripod, right? That kind of gear does help, and stuff like, a microphone if you want and stuff like that. Generally people can deal with like kind of lesser quality video, but kind of if the audio's not that great, staticky, really low volume, it's really hard to kind of, at least in my opinion, it's hard to follow. I can follow things that are like kind of like, motion blur or pixelated to a certain degree, maybe even lower resolution, but if the audio is not that great, it's hard to follow, especially if you're trying to explain something. And something as simple as lighting, right? Now, sometimes the best lighting is natural lighting, right? So as a gardener, maybe you wait till that next day when it's more sunny out, or at least do it during the daytime. Maybe, of course you can use your built-in camera light if you want to. Maybe you use an external light. I mean, I've known people to use their own flashlight of whatever, right? Or one of those ring lights or something like that. There's a lot of people that have ring lights nowadays that they use for their channel and do something like that. I'm just reading some of the side chat. Okay. What's up, man? Bam! What's up? How are you doing, man? But yeah, I mean, a tripod just kind of just give you that flexibility to be hands-free, right? So you can walk away from the camera. You don't have to hold the camera, for example, right? Especially if you're a one-man kind of one-person type of crew, I know a lot of channels out there, it's one-man crew. One-person crew. One-person production, where you're doing the recording, the videoing, the editing and all that stuff, the uploading and all this stuff, the thumbnails and all that stuff. I mean, like, that's, the thumbnail itself is totally different, another thing too, right? Where these things help you out because you're able to make the content that you're creating a little bit more higher quality, right? Higher production value for what it is, right? Of course, content is king, but, and stuff like that. And, yeah, work lights are not too bad. I mean, like I said, you can get things secondhand. Maybe you might be able to even get it for free, right? You might be able to be like, be able to score one up from someone else that's kind of, maybe another content creator and they're like, oh, you're getting into this CR? Yeah. I'm thinking of starting a YouTube channel, man. And they pass you like their spare secondary tripod, right? Because they have something better now, right? For example, right? And you can start with that. You know, maybe it's that secondhand phone or a secondhand or a thrift store find of a camera, tripod, that kind of stuff. And you start from there, right? Just so you can get into it, right? Because, let's face it, you know, it kind of sucks to get into something and not like it, right? But, you know, that's why just start off slowly, right? And like I said, try to plan some videos in advance. You know, these ideas that you have in your mind of something like, let's say if it's in the gardening community, we'll go back to this example or analogy, you know. This person wants to start a YouTube channel about gardening, right? Thinking, okay, maybe even timing is important. I know timing is important too as a content creator, right? So maybe you start that channel, you know, it's in the wintertime, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna start the channel yet. I'll set it up, you know, make sure I get the name, maybe have someone or whatever set me up an icon, a channel banner or whatever, fill up your description, your about page, right? Because people actually do read that and stuff like that. Obviously, the email associated with that, right, and stuff like that. Any other additional links you may have later on, right? Maybe you venture off onto like our social media site, right? You know, obviously Instagram would be one of the examples, for example. That was a weird sound. I was checking on my coffee here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, get you started, right? Get you started doing something, right? Because sometimes the hardest thing is just to get started, right? I mean, for people that are used to talking in front of the camera, used to be in front of a microphone, for example. Let's say you used to do karaoke, you used to do singing, you used to be for performer, you used to talk in front of people all the time, or feel comfortable in talking in front of a class. Maybe you're a teacher or something like that, so you're comfortable in talking in front of people. You know, it's a little bit easier for some people like that. But you know, for other people, it's just like they're kind of nervous in talking in front of a camera, right? And maybe, you know, to get your stage fright out of the way, you know, you join a panel of like-minded channels that you're supporting, right? And you're already following, for example, through subscription or whatever, right? And you're just kind of following them, and you kind of, hey, can I join the panel, right? You know, and of course they trust you enough to join and stuff like that, because, you know, as a co-host or whatever, you know, you can just jump in every so often and just kind of get by that stage fright, right? Because, I mean, there's a certain time where it's just like, you know, it just becomes natural. It just flows out of you, you know, where that stage fright, for the most part, doesn't exist anymore because you start doing it more and more, and just like, it just kind of, it's not there anymore, or it's very seldomly there, you know. It's just like like, if someone like does karaoke for the first time, for example, right? It can be nerve-wracking, you know. I get that. By the way, everyone, I have, a long time ago, did some singing back in high school. That was nerve-wracking for me. You know, it's one thing to talk in front of a camera where you don't physically see someone. People are behind a screen, right? It's actually more nerve-wracking to perform in front of people. It's actually more nerve-wracking, right? So if you can get behind that, or you've already performed in front of people or whatever, karaoke, for example, in front of people, and you start to do a karaoke channel, you know, that's probably not so bad, you know, because, you know, you'll see the comments, you know. You're not directly seeing people and their reaction while you're actually performing or saying these words, or, you know, it's like stand-up, for example, right? You know, it's kind of nerve-wracking at first, but once you get more into it, you know, you feel more comfortable in doing it, it might become second nature. You just get to be like, oh yeah, this is not so bad, for example. Let's see. You have a couple hundred views and still hate talking to the camera. Well, hey, sometimes but eventually you're like, okay, I'm just gonna do it, all right? Maybe I get it. Sometimes you gotta take multiple takes, right? I've done that before. I'm just like, why did I say that? I'm just like, like for example, I'll be like, welcome back, everybody. It's Creative Redundancy, the one known as, and I'll be like, CR. Oh my, I'm like, wait, that sounded lame. Okay, it'll be like take two, and I just keep rolling with it. I'm like, okay, I'll just edit that out in post, right, in the editing room in the app or editing software or program I'm using, for example. I'm like, and I just keep it going, right, and I'm like, okay, let's try this again, And I'll actually say that, right? I'll actually say if I screw up when I'm recording, I'll be like, okay, take two, because when I'm hearing it back or whatever when I'm editing, I'll be like, oh yeah, this was the part that I screwed up in the beginning. So after I say take two, then I would cut that footage into it, right? And I remove the previous footage and kind of cut that out, right? And splice the content together, for example. I mean, even sometimes when I'm doing recording or whatever, right, kind of psyching yourself out or whatever, right? I mean, some people don't even have to do that anymore. They just feel that energy of creating, and it's just like, okay, it just flows out, right? But sometimes, even for me, at times I'm just like, I gotta do something. I gotta get back into the zone for it, for example. And by the way, everyone, I'm going to show you guys something. Just hold on here. Come on. Nope. Sorry, someone was sending me a message. I have something right here. I will show you guys in a moment, though. Bring back up my chat here. I'm just making the coffee first. That's actually what I'm doing first before I actually start this. And being ready for your stream for your videos, right? Just like being ready for your live streams, getting ready for them as much as possible, because most of those are social media you can live stream on, right? Within time, you might need a certain amount of followers and criteria or whatever, but in time you can do it too, right? What's up, Prep for it? I see you in there, man. Like I said, I have something very special for this stream. I'm just waiting for a little bit more people to join. I actually I made this specifically for this stream. Although I may actually re-release it as an actual, standard long-form content. Maybe. I might actually do that just for kicks. I'm just making my coffee here. I just have to do this real quick. I actually have to open it up. After I open up there, give me a sec. But yeah, a lot of stuff, I just had to learn just by doing it, right? Because nowadays, there's more and more channels out there that are kind of doing this how-to and stuff like that, where you can find out this additional information, right? Even before you start a channel or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of channels out there that give you ideas that what you can do, potentially, right? And maybe you're looking at other channels, my channel, whatever, people here in my side chat right now, looking for ideas to bounce ideas off of, right? I mean, I've gone to live streams where I'm like, you know what? I should try that out. That might make a pretty good video, especially when you're thinking about it, it's like, yeah, that's kind of up my alley, it kind of within my genre or niche for the channel. I can pull this off, right? I mean, content creating is creating, right? So honestly, it's up my chat. Totally up my alley. Special isn't a CR word? Okay, whatever. Well, encouraging is, Alright? And I encourage you guys to try stuff, right? You know, what's the worst that don't happen, you know, right? The viewership's not gonna be that great or whatever, the watch time's not gonna be that great, right? But sometimes you gotta remember, not every video that you put out is always gonna be hot, exciting, hot. You know, you see your analytics or whatever, right? It's not always gonna be in the top 5 of the last 10 videos, right? Sometimes some of the videos kind of plummet, right? And you gotta remember, likewise, you don't have videos out there that just do awesome. For some reason, whatever the reason is, people share it out or whatever. Certain people see it, certain people share it out and something like that, and it becomes better. Or I shouldn't say better, but does well, for example, right? And always trying to not get discouraged because you're not getting the watch time, you're not getting the viewership or whatever, right? You know, or your audience retention is like crap, you know, or your click-through rate is like 0.5% instead of that 5% that you would like or higher, right? You know, you gotta remember that just like a lot of things in life, you know, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon at times, right? Not everyone's always gonna be that instant success, right? Some people are, right? Our channels got to try really hard, you know. You know, it takes them years just to get to some milestone or whatever. Let's say the 1K mark or whatever, right? And you just gotta work at it. Do what you can, right? But the idea is always you gotta put out content, alright? So there's more opportunity for people to notice your content, whatever it is. Let me see the sidechain. No, I would hope so, prep for it, you know? I mean, one of my buddies was never, I mean, I've mentioned this before, was never formally learned how to edit. Even recording, right? They did other things, right? He does a scrapping type of channel, right? You know, and he was discovering this kind of stuff too. He actually said to me, because he said it on his live stream, you know, he's like, see, it's because of you I got into this, right? You know, I'm like, yeah, that's so cool, right? Because it just shows that, you know, anyone can do it. In theory, but pretty much anyone can do it, right? You just have to have the willingness to keep it up, right? Maybe you learn a couple new things, right? Even if you haven't been formally trained or taught it. There's videos out there on how to edit. There's videos out there that, you know, best practices, right? You know, if you can't come up with ideas, there's videos out there that you can get some ideas off of, where, you know, okay, you know, I mean, it really does depend on your niche and what you want to do on the channel. You know, okay, let's blog how I'm making coffee. Just how I'm blogging on, I mean, making coffee right now. Like, no word of lie, the coffee's right next to me. Oh yeah, it smells good. Nothing like fresh coffee to keep you going and stuff like that. And I mean, and my buddy's doing so well now. I mean, I'm very impressed, right? You know, he's already past that 1K mark, right? He's getting that WT, that watch time, very nicely and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm happy for him, right? You know, stuff like that. You know, sometimes you gotta remember that success comes in time. You never know when it'll occur, but sometimes you just gotta be patient. You just gotta keep trying. You just gotta keep putting out the videos, the streams, the content out there, right? And hopefully, you know, hopefully that next video, whatever it is, or stream, will just go viral and just like your subscriber count will just pick up to like hundreds and hundreds, and your watch time just kind of almost metaphorically skyrockets up. Like, you can notice it's just like from, let's say, 500 watch hours to like 1,000 in like a span of like 2 weeks. You know, then you'd be like, oh, I'm glad I kept that up, Because if you don't put the video out there, how are people don't find you, right? Because that next video may be that one video that kind of kicks you into the next level of being a content creator, for lack of a better word. see, look at this. Look at this. Jason's like making another video. It's like, I'll be right back and I'll make another video. Yeah, see. Yeah, okay. He doesn't even mind editing, you know what I mean? I mean, like, I know you're not formally trained on that or learned it, right? You know? And enjoy it, alright? You gotta enjoy the creation mode process of it, too, right? Because you gotta enjoy... If you're a content creator, you gotta enjoy creating that content, you know? Because it comes back to choosing, you know, your niche and, you know, your style, what you want to show, right? You want to show, you know... If you're not a gamer, then don't go show gaming content, alright? You know, but if you love gardening or something like that, then do a gardening channel, right? You know, and stuff like that. And try. At least try, you know? Because there's a lot of channels out there I've seen where they've just kind of faded out, you know? Maybe the success was not so pretty quick, but they just couldn't maintain it, you know? And remember, just like in preparedness is like... It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Well, content creating is the same way, or being a content creator is the same way. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? You just got to keep it up, right? Because even if some of these bigger channels, whenever, right, they still had to start from somewhere, right? They just eventually found that secret recipe, the way to do it, the way that is just like where the viewership just skyrockets, the views go up, the watch time goes up, the audience retention goes up, the click-through rate goes up, right, and stuff like that. And maybe it's just because they started to change slightly how they do it. You know, it's still kind of on par on what they're doing in terms of gardening, for example, but they just kind of add a little bit of humor in. They gotten better at the thumbnail part, or, you know, maybe it's not always the newest tech, a new mic or a video, right? It's just some of these little things that you can still do, right? Such as talking to your audience, like how I am right now. What's up, Colin? I see you in there, man. Jason will be right back. He's recording. I will show you guys something. No, well, not that. Just for you guys, I made this specifically for this stream. What did you miss? Well, you didn't miss anything because I was just about to show it. There is some audio with this, so I am trying this actually out too because I don't usually play the audio on this. Look, I made this, and I'll kind of pause it every so often. And yes, it does have music with it. I lowered the volume all the way to like the lowest number, to like to 1%. Just so it doesn't overwhelm my voice, so I don't have to, like, extremely talk over it or yell over it. But I specifically made this, and this was just spur of the moment, right? I didn't even have many stage props, right? There's some editing in there, and there's some music and stuff like that. You know, you'll see it, right? But look. No, don't worry. See? Huh. I actually made this sequence. This is like a 19 minute sequence here. It should loop, right? I'll let you guys see this. You guys can still hear me, I hope, right? While I pour this coffee. Because I figured I'd make the stream a little bit more entertaining by actually showing something. Right? And not just talk about the editing, but actually explain this part of it right here. You know? This sequence took me like half an hour. Well, it took me a little bit longer to make the video at the end. But yeah, you know, it didn't take me that long. Because people say that I don't appear on the camera. Well, I'm going to appear on the camera right here. You know, I was actually planning to... I wanted to do this with a backpack on, but I didn't. Let me just, let's see here. See? I'll pause this for temporary, just for, there should be a spot that I can pause this. I'll have this looping anyways. Maybe just pause this for just a sec here. So I can explain this part of it. Alright? Tripod. So the background doesn't move. I can, and, you know, if you're doing this kind of dancing or karaoke thing or performing in front of something, yeah, a tripod would help, alright? You know, you're walking, showing something, or you're walking towards the camera, or walking away from the camera from these scenes that some people do out there, right? A tripod does help. Continuing on. Oh, and by the way, I just recorded this 2 hours ago. I did this 2 hours ago. I literally whipped this up right before the stream. So I could actually take a break from my talking for a moment. This sequence is about 19 minutes, 18 minutes long. It will loop. You will notice it will loop. Because as a content creator, let me pause this for a sec here. Oops. As a content creator, you know, you want to, sometimes you got to entertain your audience, right? Because, you know, they're there to, like, kind of maybe hear you out, learn something, but they want to be kind of entertained to a certain degree. You know, maybe you throw in something to make it more entertaining. You know, so that kind of audience retention stays in there, right? Because you'll notice on your analytics, right? Usually the first 30 seconds of the video is generally, for most people, you'll see that kind of highest audience retention, right? And you kind of see it either plateau or dip out as the video keeps going. At least for me, that's how I see it. I'll keep playing it. Oh, you know I got the cardio line. Remember, this sequence is like 18 minutes. Let me just temporarily pause that for it. Oops. Let me just temporarily pause that right about there. And explain this part of it a little bit more. Alright? I wanted to show this because as an actual example, and maybe it'll help my audience retention while I'm on this too. You know, because this, I can actually break this down on the editing to, like, this is one complete sequence, right? One take. It was the only take. It was only the only take. It was the only scene I made. Is take or took? Anyways, it was the only sequence I made. I just added a few little things just to make it spice it up a bit. You know, a little bit of music just to go with it, right? Because originally I was like, no, I gotta add a little bit of music into this, so it's not just me moving on the screen. You can kind of actually see it. Now, because this is on the YouTube side, the music, you can see I got headphones in, listening to the music that I'm jamming to, right? Obviously, I can't release that kind of music on the YouTube side, so I use some placeholder music, and this is, you'll notice. You know, it doesn't always sync up to what I'm doing on the screen, you know, and stuff like that. And then, basically, well, let me just keep playing this here. Yeah, I know. It's because I had to set it up like this, Colin. I was just winging it, by the way. I was just winging it. I was just winging it, by the way. Nothing, anything special. I'm not dancing in the chair. There is there's a part of the sequence you can see me actually jump, by the way. Yeah, right? But this is the idea, right? You know, like adding in something in, right? You know, for the content, right? So maybe you have some knowledge that you're saying on the content, all right? But you add a little bit extra in for the entertainment value, right? So people are engaging into your content a lot more via the information that you're sharing, but also what you're showing, right? For example, so do you guys think I should release this as a normal long form content video? I actually have the video file. I was actually thinking of uploading this as a normal video. This dance sequence, why not? I could. Hi, Vanessa. I'm not sitting in a chair. I am standing for this sequence, by the way. Because I can't dance in a chair quite like this. Let's see. Let me pause it right about there. Yeah, there we go. That looks beautiful. That's a beautiful spot to kind of pause this. You know, now, the reason I'm playing this is not just to entertain you folks. The main reason why I'm really showing this is that, you know, to explain that kind of that audience retention and kind of adding a little bit more value into your videos as much as you can. You know, I get certain little things or whatever, right? Not everyone can move or whatever, right? I get that, right? But just adding some value, whatever it is, right? Maybe it's just like some random joke or, you know, or something like that. You know, I get it. Some of the videos are more serious or whatever. I get that, right? You know, but, you know, sometimes, especially on these live streams, every so often try to, like, spice it up a bit, right? Mix it up a bit, right? You know, it's just like, for example, I've talked to other people about this, right? An introduction, right? I know some people don't like that, some people do or whatever, right? You know, whatever you use for your hook in the beginning, right? You know, you say something like, you know, well, I mean, I kind of could have said something like this for this stream, like, I'm gonna show you guys something just like before, you know, and just like times before, and this stream's gonna be something even more, something like that, you know. So, you know, saying something like that, then you whip in something is some sort of like thing on the screen or whatever, right? You know, and trying to change that up if you can, right? Because, you know, if people are seeing, to a certain degree, if people are always seeing that same intro, right? There's a certain degree where people will cut the time. It's just the way it is, right? They'll be like, well, technically I've seen this, you know? And they're trying to save time in terms of, like, what they're doing, right? Because, let's face it, yes, people have time to watch stuff, but sometimes people are, like, watching on their break, coffee break, lunch break. You know, they got 5 minutes to spare, right? You know? And it's a 6-minute video, well, you know, they're done just because, right? You know, you'll still get some watch time or whatever, a view or whatever, but unfortunately they just kind of, they're squeezing in the time for you still, right? So sometimes, you know, changing it up a bit maybe might help every so often. Because I mean, back when I first started the channel, I used to have this intro, right? And I changed it out more and more as time went on, where I kind of make a custom intro for the content. I mean, if it's one thing if it's like, part one, part two, like even with my sunflower videos, sometimes my intros were kind of more or less the same, right? Just building upon the previous one, right? Where it's just more or less the same, but it's slightly different. Slightly different. And then, get into, you hook people in, say something or whatever, right? And, you go into your, whatever the content is about, right? And stuff like that. Even with my last video that I kind of put out there, right? I was just like thinking to myself, I'm like, the sunflower, for anyone that hasn't seen the sunflower harvest video, right? I mean, I'll explain it. You can still watch it if you would like, right? It's probably the last video I have out right now on the video, on the static vids, on the long form content. And when I was approaching it, I was just like thinking to myself, I'm like, I knew what I was gonna do, but I was thinking of the sequence. I was just like thinking to myself, I'm planning this ahead, right? But I was planning this way before I started anything, right? Because sometimes in recording or whatever, there's certain sequences you actually have to shoot part of the sequence first, or part of that footage first, because you won't be able to afterwards, because I can't shoot me. I can't record me doing something with the sunflower if I've already removed the sunflower, for example, right? So some of the other sequences have to be recorded first, for example. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, oh, you know what, the main part of the sequence for the sunflower video is going to be kind of dry. Because I'm not showing, I mean, people will be entertained by the knowledge, maybe if I say something or whatever, right? But I mean, it's going to be a single angle, not changing or whatever. So I decided to add in a little bit of humor for anyone that didn't notice that, and then add in something else in there just to kind of segue it into the video a little bit more, right? So kind of made a joke in there, kind of like some other things, right? A little hook, introduction, a little bit of humor, and something to kind of transition into the main part of the video. It seemed like it helped, actually, because I noticed that on the audience retention, at least this time around, I kind of noticed it. So, let's play this. So that done point. It's not even like halfway through. Yeah. Other people do that, Iron Fire Horse. That I know. Yeah! Oh. I thought I paused it in the right spot. Yes, dancing sea are very cool. Thank you, Sunflowers. I know this is not the first time I've danced. Although, this will be the first time I actually showed it on a live stream, but I've done this before, by the way. This is not the first time. I know it's not the first time. I've already done this before. A while back, a couple years back already, when I was helping someone else out. And, and kind of doing stuff like that. So it's nothing new to me. I just decided to bring this back. Why not? Because, like I said, I wanted to kind of illustrate this and kind of make this kind of less dry. Because there's a lot of knowledge or information to consider in this. So I kind of wanted to add something in so you can kind of get a sense of it. And to show you guys that I actually kind of have made something for you guys, So it's just kind of a little bit more interesting, like I said. Oh, there's sunflower. There's Puppy Bev. Hey, Puppy, like I said. See, I messaged Puppy and said that I had something special for this live stream. I wasn't kidding. I was not kidding about this. I wasn't kidding. And like I said, I made this specifically for this stream. Yeah, see, Iron Fire Horse has seen it before, so she's like, yeah, Sierra's done this before, yeah, Because I remember the last time I did it, and then I got a pretty good response out of it. So I'm like, oh, you know what? do it again, right? You know, if the recipe's working, right, do it again, right? And sometimes you just gotta find that recipe. I'm using recipe as a metaphor, as an analogy, right? You know, that kind of sequence of things or whatever, right? Where it just clicks, right? It's just like, yes, right? And as a content creator, when you see success like that, you'll be like more willing to keep going, right? Because just like gardening, you know, you always want to eventually see the fruits of your labor, right? If you're not seeing the fruits, you can get discouraged, for example, right? For example. But if you're seeing the fruit, or in this case, positive results, whatever it is, right? You know, keep it up, right? Trying to mimic that or do something similar the next time around, or for a next video or stream, or shorts or reels, whatever, long form, short form, 1 minute, 2 minute content, long form content, live stream, whatever. Okay, Colin. Okay, playing it. The sequence. I am not even done half the sequence yet, by the way. When you look at this, you can see I'm not. It's not repeating until the end. I had to keep switching it out. I didn't want to like do the same moves there, right? So I had to spin something in constantly. And like I said, I was wearing headphones, listening to the music, because I can't put the music here on the YouTube side. Well, it's not Saturday night anyways, right? Oh, and by the way, everyone, this is using a free app. All the things you see within it are on the free side. So it's not. There's no premium or subscription based or pro features used for this. It's just something I quickly threw together. Like literally, I just threw it together. Like. Hey, Iron Fire Horse, maybe next time around I'll add that in. I'll add that in next time. I was kind of rushing it, okay? I was trying to make sure I could get it all ready to go before the stream started so I could show up on the stream on time. Let me just pause my spirit fingers here, right? Speak of spirit fingers, if you're enjoying what you're seeing and hearing, give me some spirit fingers, like as in a thumbs up. I would appreciate that. And of course, sharing it out if you like too. You know, on your community board, whatever, right? You know, and stuff like that. But this sequence, as I'm trying to break this down in terms of the editing part, right? There's a beginning that you saw, right? And eventually you'll see the end, eventually, right? And it'll cycle back because I have this on a loop, for example. And like I said, this whole sequence is one take, right? There's no multiple takes and none of the sequence isn't spliced together here. And you'll notice that my movements are different. So it's not like some, you know, I'm not looping per se things into it to make a longer sequence. This is just more or less like an 18-minute sequence. Yeah, I know. I actually did this for 18 minutes. I know. See how I put some effort into this. I almost started breaking a sweat when I was doing that. But I was enjoying it actually because when I was doing the sequence, I was just like thinking about the content creation of things. I was just like jamming away, just having some fun, right? Enjoying it, right? And just kind of remembering, I'm like. Because I wasn't even thinking of, like, what audio I was going to use. Like, I knew what I would kind of want it, right? I just picked something that would work, but... And, of course, you'll see that I actually had to repeat the audio. Just because, you know... Because the sequence is so long and the audio is so short. I had to repeat the audio part of it. But... And just kind of getting into it, right? Just, like... How I'm getting into this live stream, getting into your videos and stuff like that, as much as you can, right? I get it, you know, sometimes you're under the weather, you're kind of more lethargic or whatever, right? But as much as possible to get into into your videos as much as possible, right? Jamming is the best. Let's see. I know, spirit fingers. Now, I will break this back down again. That is, those spirit fingers, you'll see this kind of echo effect right here. That's actually like kind of like an echo type of thing where it kind of echoes the previous second and it expands it a little bit more. You'll see this blue thing on the screen, right? That's just an effect added afterwards. It's just something I added in just to kind of spice it up a bit. So, because it's a dance sequence technically. Puppy. I hear you on that one. I'll get into that in a little bit, Sunflower. I just want to make sure that how far I'm into the sequence. Yeah. Now I'm just coming up into the halfway through the sequence, right? Yeah, see, you can see I had to wipe some sweat off. I felt like I was breaking a sweat trying to do this. But I really got into this, right? I was really into this because I wanted to show you guys that I was really getting into this, right? Because I was really excited to do not only the sequence, to add this to this live stream for you guys to make it more exciting, but just for the sheer aspect of like content creating, right? Or being a content creator, right? It's got CR in it. All right, let's see. Right about. Let's see. Where's that sequence? See, I actually had to. You can see that I turned around every so often. Yeah, right there. I'll pause that right there. Bring back up my chat here. And the sequence, like I said, basically, literally, it had a beginning, a body, and kind of an ending. That's it. Right? When I'm making these sequences or whatever, like, that's how I kind of... It's just like a book, for example, right? Just like how a book has a beginning, the body, and an ending. Or, like, an intro, a body, an outro. Or, a topic sentence, the body, and the conclusion. Essay writing, for example, right? And I broke this sequence down, and I'm just like, okay, this is what I'm gonna use as the body, as what you've been mainly seeing, right? This little thing you saw in the beginning of it, that was the intro, and eventually you'll see the outro part of it, right? And yes, this sequence will loop because I've set it up to loop. And I just added basically some audio to it. Kind of matched. Not exactly at times. I actually had to tweak it just slightly every so often. And time it. Trying to time my beat, the beat of the music I'm using to what I'm doing on screen as much as I could. I mean, I was rushing this too, right? To keep that in mind. Did I just say that? Iron Force? Okay. I'll give you that one, Iron Force. I'll give you that one. I'll personally give you that one. Iron Force. I need to increase my brightness here. And by the way, everyone, like I said, I actually shot this sequence today. A couple hours ago, right? This is not actually that far pre-recorded, right? I actually decided to do it today. I was just like, I'm gonna just do it in the spirit of this, of being a content creator, for example, right? And just feel that kind of, yeah, alright. I was almost like about to shout, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna keep this kind of like, like, keep my mouth shut on this one, and just let the music and the moves keep the pace going and stuff like that. like I said, I can't share the music part, what I was hearing, just because you know how it is, right? So I had to use audio that I could freely use, or at least hopefully. I really hope I don't get like some sort of copyright strike. I don't think I will. I'm pretty sure I won't. I've used the audio from this before, and I haven't had issues before. But I mean, something like this, more or less, I could probably do with any other app. You know, honestly, I specifically used like, well, actually, specifically, I use CapCut for this, but probably I could probably swing this with other apps too. You know, because like I said, I can break the sequence down, intro, or beginning, middle, end, right? The audio, I could use something else, whatever. I could use the, since I'm on the YouTube side doing this, right? I could pull something from the YouTube audio library to put this in. I just didn't do it because time restraints, and I was trying to get this video made so I could do this and put this into the app so I can do this, right? Because it's a 20-minute sequence. It took a while to actually like not just record, but to like finalize the video so I can actually use it and put it onto this app and show you guys right here. So I just did it quick. I mean, I know it's possible to do it with that, with some of the other stuff. I know it's possible. It'd just be slightly different. The core aspect, like of me, the movements I'm doing, are gonna be there. Would still be there. Wow. I didn't even know that. Anyways, let's keep going here with this one. I just gotta move that to the side. I gotta shrink this down so you guys can see more of it. Right? And just to spice it up a bit, yeah. I'm trying to remember which way I moved. I'm trying to actually move the image in the same direction. Yeah, yeah. Alright, and do like... Now, as a backstory here, let's see. Let me just about there. As a backstory here, let me bring back up my chat here. I want you guys to know that in the past, technically speaking, it wasn't like anything major. I've technically made a music video before. And it probably shows how, based on what I've just showed you guys here. Now, obviously, this is much more a simplistic, bare bones type of thing, right? But, you know, if you were doing karaoke or something like that, and, you know, as a content creator, right, you put this in, the sequence in, right? Almost making it like a music video, right? You know, and hopefully, you know, you got the rights to the audio and all that stuff. and content, that part of it, right? But, you know, you could swing that in and, you know, maybe you're actually with a microphone, and, you know, if I had a mic on this and singing it or whatever, right? Your audience engagement could actually go up just because, you know, it's just not you singing in front of the camera. You're kind of like performing, right? It almost looks like you're watching something like on MTV or something like that, you know, or whatever it is nowadays. You know, something like that. And, you know, something you might see on like some talent show or something like that. You like it, and make it look like that, right? And just like simulating that. For example, yeah, I remember you saying that, Iron Force. I totally remember that, right? Hold on, let me just. Like I said, the sequence is just halfway done, like kind of now. And I guess I'll see if I get something off of the something copyright strike. Probably not. I don't think I will. See, you could see I'm using the same audio. I had to use the same audio. It's just I was like, I can't be bothered trying to find a third track for this, so I just kind of used both two tracks, basically. I just kind of did this fast just to illustrate my point about this and some of the stories I'm bringing back from this to explain some of this stuff, right? You know, a lot of this stuff I had to learn, previous experience or whatever, right? I'm just kind of putting it together. So I'm quite familiar with kind of like matching the audio to the video track, you know, as much as I could, where the beat kind of goes with what I'm doing. Because remember, I'm actually doing this dance sequence before I actually decided the audio track, for example. So I was just like, okay, I think this will work. Although most of the time you would know the audio track beforehand. Now, hopefully I'm not buffering or lagging behind. Hopefully it's not just the effects I have on the screen. Iron Forest. Hopefully it's not just that. But yeah. Hopefully it's not me. As I cannot tell because I don't have a separate device playing this. Oh, okay. You could see here that I actually had to slow it down for a little bit because I was just like, okay. You know, I was just like, okay, I had to catch my breath part of the way through. Remember, the sequence is like one take. So I actually had to like pace myself. I was just like, originally I was gonna try for half an hour, but I'm like, I kind of stopped after like 20 minutes of this. I'm just like, okay, I gotta stop. I gotta actually. After all that fun, I actually had to do the work to like set this up, so you guys can actually see all this, amongst my other things, because I actually, also as a content creator, let me just pause this so you can actually hear me better. Hey, I like how I paused it right there. All right, Iron Forest, but you know, coming back to a few things here, right? Ideas. You know, picking a channel name, editing, and all this stuff, right? You know, hopefully you'll be able to find it. I mean, obviously you guys have something, right? Because obviously you guys are here right now, but, you know, for anyone that's actually listening or whatever, right? Newer or whatever, or considering things, right? Go jot some of those ideas down. I mean, I got a book now, or notebook or whatever. I mean, you can use scrap paper. I mean, I've used scrap paper too, right? Jot down some ideas, right? Get them on a piece of paper, kind of brainstorm them, so to speak, and kind of explore that idea, and maybe be like, okay, maybe, right? And maybe you're kind of writing down the script, just something so you can some side notes that you can talk about, whatever it is, right? Certain things you want to say, or you know, let's say you're doing a voiceover for something, for example, and you're just like, okay, this is you know, you're having it on the side, right? Just something so, you know, you could just kind of read off of it and just kind of think about it and be like, okay, this is what I'm saying in this video. Like, you don't say it, you kind of roll with it and be like, okay, everyone, this is CreatoR Dancing back again. You know, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, I had lots of fun making this sequence. It was so fun to do. You know, it got me moving, like usual. And you just go with that, right? And you kind of add that into your video as you're editing or whatever, or you kind of have it on the side, off screen. Maybe you're doing a sequence or whatever, or part of like what you're saying for like a shorts, reels, short form content, long form content. And you just have it on the side, so just to kind of be like, okay, even before you read it out loud, you'd be like, okay, you can practice it for a little bit, right? Okay, these are the words I'm gonna say for this video here, and just kind of, okay. No, I don't like how I said it. Okay, let's say this. This is the stuff I'm gonna say for this video here, and you just kind of say it again and be like, okay, this sounds better, right? And then eventually, you just kind of fit it in. Welcome back, Iron Fire Horse. Welcome back. Sorry, I'm just checking on something right here. Yeah, see, this sequence is only 3/4 of the way done. Maybe I'll just leave the sequence running for a bit. Unfortunately, I can't mute it, but it's part of the video sequence. I think I was starting to wing it a bit here. Hey, it's a 20-minute thing, so, a couple of the moves had to be repeated every so often, right? Especially since I'm not showing the feet work. There's no feet work in here. Yeah, see, you see, I added something in. There's a stage prop right there. You see, no, there's a stage prop right there. Anyone notice that? I added that in. I added that in. I added a CR word in there. You notice that? I'm just having a sip of coffee for a moment here. So, as I'm back here, see, my sequence here is actually ending soon. Here. So I want to explain this part of it, alright? Just so you guys can understand this a little bit more here. Is that I was making sure when I was doing this, my last little bit here, as much as I could, trying to end it at a good note. Like, literally, I had to make sure I did this in a certain way. So when I was in that kind of post-production thing, I'm like, okay, I got enough sequence, enough footage to use, for example, right? Because one thing here, let me just pause because it's almost over the sequence. I kind of like how I paused it there. You always especially if you're splicing the content together, right, or editing After Effects, regardless, is that you want to actually be able to, you want to record as much as you can, because it's just like Hollywood or TV shows out there, movies or whatever, right? Even series like that. It's actually expensive and time consuming to reshoot, because sometimes you might not be able to get back to the location, for example, right? So you always want to make sure you maybe record a little bit extra, right? Maybe you're not sure, okay, why not I'm going to use this sequence of me walking away from the camera. Well, you know what, I got the space on the phone or on the memory card, maybe I'll add that in, right? Just in case I want to swing that in. Because it's very hard to, like, put content or put something in there if you haven't recorded part of it, right? Like, or you want that, it's like, oh, I should have did this kind of extra walk away sequence. It would have been perfect right here, right? I should have recorded that just in case, for example, right? Like, for example, some of these walks I've done, I mean, especially one of those walks where I've actually done these walking away, walking towards the camera sequence, for example, right? I only showed like half the sequence of the full sequence. A lot of that other stuff was kind of me like rolling into the sequence, right? Kind of like a roll in, all right, where it's just like, okay, you start rolling in and you just work with that and you just kind of splice or cut parts of it out wherever you deem necessary, right? Just so, because sometimes when I notice is that I'm trying to match the sound, I'm like, oh, I just need that another half a second of footage, right? I'm like, oh, thank goodness I kept rolling with it a little bit more so I can add that extra half a second and kind of match the beat to what I'm doing, for example, or what I'm showing. Let's keep playing this, because it's almost over. Because everyone wants to see me dancing, apparently. You guys are just watching me dance this whole sequence out. Keep on dancing, dun, 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 dancing the stream away. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. I'm voicing over this as I'm doing this live right here. It sounded better in my head. I was freestyling that out, I guess, or whatever. Now you'll see, right, it should be coming out today. I think I'm at that 16-minute mark on this. I think it's like about 18-minute sequence. Yeah, see? You hear me? Yeah, this is the last part of it. I was just like, okay, I just need something to work. I'm actually surprised how well this actually worked for this audio. Because this is, like I said, this is not the original audio track whatsoever. It's definitely different music compared to what I'm listening to. Singing and, and stuff like that, right? I mean, let me just pause this for a second again. I'll pause this for a sec. Yeah, puppy, singing and dancing always good. Yeah, you know what? It wouldn't be the first time. By the way, it's not the first time I sang on the YouTube song. Like I've said before, I've done karaoke before. Nothing major or whatever, but, I've done it before, right? So, it's nothing new for me. I'm quite comfortable in front of a microphone, generally speaking. Initially when I first started the channel, I'll be honest, it's just like, well, just stage fright, just because it's a new thing, right? But, like I said, as time went on, maybe as a content creator, right, you're kind of nervous in the beginning, all right? It happens, right? I get it, and I understand, because it's a new thing, right? You're not sure, oh, how people are going to react to this, how people are going to judge me, or whatever, right? But, you start seeing good comments or whatever and stuff like that, and you just get more comfortable with it in time, comfortable with your own skin. You're able to kind of keep the conversation going. You're not like, right, pauses, and I don't know what to say, right? That kind of thing. Because it does happen. Because I noticed you can even notice them with some of the bigger channels at times, or like if people still have their kind of older content. Because if you look at some people's channels older content, you can kind of notice that, right? It's different. You can notice that they weren't as comfortable, or it was just certain little things, right? Their kind of energy level that they put out is much different compared to like how it currently is, right? They're kind of talking monotone or whatever, and now, their newer content is just like kind of in your face. It's like, boom, what's up, and stuff like that, and that's cool, right? Because you want to put that energy out there. So when when your watchers are watching, your viewers, they feel that energy too, and they get excited, especially if you're talking about something like a how-to video or something like that, or doing something along the lines of that. They can feel like they can do this too, right? That engagement as much as small. So, I mean, that's one of the things I've started to learn more and more as time goes on. Amongst some other things, like scheduling, by the way. If I could tell myself, go back in time and tell myself, what would I do on that first video or first 10 videos, I would have been like, I would have been like, or even anyone new out there listening or doing more videos or whatever, try to schedule some content in advance as much as you can. Now, you're probably like, oh, see, or I tried that. My view count didn't go up, or my watch time didn't go up, or something like that. No, scheduling, especially here on the YouTube side. I don't know about the other platforms, but scheduling is for the host, the content creator themselves, because scheduling allows you to have a buffer zone of time to make that next video. You won't have to rush out to and kind of half-ass do a video, because you actually have, let's say, 3-4 a month worth of video content in advance. I mean, even for me right now, let's see, today is the 13th. On Wednesday, I actually have content for the rest of this month. So that also means that I can, take some time off, right? For anyone that goes camping or work or does other activities, for example, right? Those things, you still have to do these things. Work, school, prior commitments, the real world stuff, for example, right? So hence scheduling allows you to have that buffer zone of time. Because if I could tell myself anything, if any tip works, it's scheduling. Like I said, you're not done quote unquote see more views or watch time or whatever, because your audience, your viewers have no idea when you schedule it, right? Unless you tell them like how I'm telling you, right? They have no idea unless they see something that's like, if I show you guys some sunflower in the middle of December, I'd be like, no, everyone's done, no, yeah, that's not current. He shot that a while ago, right? For example, because I've noticed ever since I've started to do this, because I've been doing this scheduling thing for over a year now. I mean, I'm a true believer of it now too, because it's giving me the flexibility for the time, for example, right? So I can maybe take a little bit more time to do one video, for example, because I have a buffer zone of time. I have some time to set it up. I have some time. I don't feel rushed to make the content or record it or put it out right away. I can still tweak it, edit the content, maybe change the title, and be like, do some sort of spell check or some sort of proofreading. I guess, yeah, for lack of a better word, I guess proofreading of it, of the content, and be like, oh, I'm glad I did that. I scheduled this two weeks later, right? Because I just realized I totally spelt that wrong, right? And you're like, oh, thank goodness I still have it. I can, go back and change it out, and no one will notice, right? Unless you tell them, right? And be like, yeah, what you guys didn't notice is that I spelt the word wrong. Because when I didn't do that, I remember I spelled survivalism or survival wrong. I didn't even notice that. I didn't even pick that up when I was even proofreading, right? I was just like, but it was already public. I was like, well, never mind. I mean, people will, forgive you for that, but it's just something as the host or whatever, as the content creator, you'd be like, yeah, I spelled that wrong. I can't believe I spelled that wrong, right? And not only that, it also allows you to spend some more time if you want to set the description, the thumbnail, and work on that kind of stuff. It gives you more time for that. Welcome back. Take care, puppy. But yeah, because I've noticed that more and more as I've been doing this, that the scheduling helps me. Like I said, it's not specifically for the views or for the watch time. It's for the host to actually have time to put that stuff out, record, right? And another thing is, because in the real world, things happen. Emergencies happen, right? I'm not relate this in, for example, right? So, something unexpected happens, right? Maybe it could be something, like I said, it could be an emergency, like, you lost power for the week, right? And yeah, you can record some content, but you're not going to be able to, like, whatever. But you realize, oh, thank goodness I have, like, four videos of buffer zone, for example, right? So no one's gonna notice that, and I can still put out this other content, for example, and still fill in some content. And another thing is about scheduling, I've noticed is, let's just say for me, because it's the 13th of November right now at the time of this recording and shout out to the replay day. If I had a video on the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th, on a Friday, that's a Friday for this year, right? On November, right? I can change what I want to put as that for that week, right? So the schedule says, hey, on the 15th, I have this video out, right? I'd be like, and I decide to record something else, and I already have it. I can upload it and be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to change that video I have scheduled for the 15th for the following week, right? This video that I just recorded today, because some sort of event or whatever happened that takes priority, right? It's better if I actually put it in this time slot. And I can just kind of, shuffle the list of videos I have, for example, right? And it also, like I said, it also gives you that time when holidays come up, you want to go traveling, right? As a content creator, you probably still want to do all these other things in the real world. Maybe you still want to go traveling, do that kind of stuff, right? Go on vacation, right? Go on these campouts, right? Maybe these meet and greets that people do, for example, or collaborations or people that are meeting each other. I know some of you out there meet each other, whatever, and you spend time with someone else away for a week, right? It's nice to know that you actually have a video out for that week and the week after, right? And you still have a video out for the week after all that, right? So that camp out that you're recording and you want to shoot content for that, you want to shoot video for that, you have time to work on that now. And you can still have that time to actually do these kind of real world things that you really want to do in real world, like camp out, a vacation, or something like that, right? Or if something happens, like you're sick, for example, right? No one's gonna even know unless you tell them, right? Because, let's face it, in the real world, things happen, right? So it's nice to know that, you have scheduled videos in advance, right? If anything, I wish I actually did that more and more when I was starting the channel more, right? Now this uploading at the last second kind of deal. Ugh. I kind of like, what was I thinking back there? I should, because I think once I started to do this kind of scheduling, I noticed the benefits of it and how it's actually making me a better content creator because I actually have the time to set up everything. I actually have time to like research some things in advance, right? For example, or jump onto certain little um, things that are happening. I can slide those things into the mix. Like I have a I have a video out later this month. Well, it's scheduled at this moment. Who knows? It might still change, right? I recorded that content back in September, right? I was just able. I'm like, oh, you know what? This you'll see it when you see it. You won't know, but it wasn't a seasonal dependent thing, right? Because some of this content at times that people do, if it's a seasonal thing, for example, or Halloween just went by, for example, right? Maybe you're able to shoot the content maybe a week before, right, or something like that, and you can still be able to slide that content into like that Halloween time, right, and kind of that ideal time of it where it's just a day or two before Halloween or on the day of Halloween, for example. Instead of kind of posting it 5 days after Halloween, where kind of the audience retention, not the audience retention, but the search of it is kind of falls behind, right? Because let's face it, after certain events or whatever, after Halloween, I don't know if someone's searching for Halloween now, like we're all the way like 2 weeks later after Halloween's done. Who's searching for Halloween now, right? They did all that research back in like, the week before Halloween or during October, for example. So I hope hopefully that may actually make sense. Take care of us, yeah. Yeah, I know you were shooting a video. Yeah, see, and I see, I know, right? You kind of regret, yeah. I kind of know what you mean. You're like, I should have did this way, right? Just these things that I realized that I should have did back as a content creator, right? I should have did more research. I should have learned about this, right? Not just jump into it like head first, right? And just dump in, dump, jump into the deep end right away. Because it's just one of these things that I just wish I should have done differently. So if anything, take that. Learn that lesson from some of the veteran content creators out there. Because for me, you see, there's no reason why the scheduling I've noticed. There's no reason why I've started to do it too. Like beyond just what I've just said, it's so I can because sometimes you gotta wait for certain things. Like, okay, let's go back to the gardening channel again. Let's go back to this gardening channel example, right? Like I said, gardening with Jack, gardening with Jennifer, right? I'm using these names as an arbitrary thing, Joe, whatever, right? Stuff like that, right? Okay, we'll just say Jane and Joe, just because it'll be gardening with Joe, gardening with Jane, right? Something like that, right? You gotta remember, in the gardening community, you have no idea how things are gonna turn out until it's actually ready, right? You can't speed up real time of the garden. It is whatever it is. If something happens, something is going to happen, right? And realizing that, let's just say you want to vary it up, right? So you don't want to have like, free back to back to back harvest videos, and you kind of space that out. You don't want to have, hey, back to back kind of gardening videos where it's just like, okay, two that whole, let's say, August, September, there's like 2 videos of for example, you're growing a sunflower or whatever, right, where it's like you're seeing the harvest, the blooming and then the harvest, for example, right? Like, even for me, I kind of delayed some of this stuff where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of do something different for the following week, right? Just kind of so different kind of content I can toss in there and just kind of vary up the content, right? For example, so maybe in terms of the gardening with Joe, with Jane, or whatever, right? It's just like instead of having a harvest video every single week for 3 weeks straight, I vary it up where I alternate in some other things that I have, like let's say chop and drop, putting the garden to rest, right? Fall cleanup, something like that, and filling that in, right? So, people are like, okay, there's something else, right? It's just slightly different, right? Where it's just like, oh, okay. I don't have a sunflower, but I'm interested in this chop and drop now, right? What is gardening with Jane, gardening with Joe's doing, right? For example, right? You need to do a fishing video. Well, you know what? Yeah, don't worry, it's a learning curve, yeah. Well, you know what? Just do it, right? I'm just gonna finish this sequence out. I'll probably go right till the top of the hour. Well, or 10 minutes, whatever comes first. I'm just gonna let the sequence play out. Because you're gonna notice right about... Here's that outro right about... There. See? And? See? Alright. And that's where it actually switches and loops. I'm gonna pause that. Let me pause that. Bring back up the chat here. As you said, I have to schedule it. No, but you know what? Jason, I find it helps. I really do. Like, of anything lately, it just feels like, it helps. Because I notice that more and more. Because I've been asking about this ever since I started doing the scheduling. Like, even on some of our social media. Even on, like, Instagram, for example. The Reels? As far as I know, you cannot schedule those Reels. So that means that I mean that's one of the benefits of actually being able to schedule. You don't actually have to be there, right? If you have to be there to upload it, or put it public. See, that's one thing I don't like about Instagram. They don't have and some of these other social medias I've been hearing is like, can you schedule over there? And they're like, no. I'm like, what? Right? And it's not all of them, right? But from what I've heard, right? It's like, because on Instagram, for example, you can't schedule these reels. You can set them up as, like, pre-uploaded, but if you want, let's just say, you want to put something, let's say, a New Year's video out, you already pre-recorded it a little bit, or a Christmas thing or whatever. It could be a Valentine's, whatever, kind of Halloween thing, let's just say, right? And you kind of pre-recorded a little bit of content to say, whatever, right? On Instagram, the Reels, as far as I know, you have to actually be online on that day and upload it. Not upload it, but change it from save or private to public. And that's what I don't like, because you actually have to be online for that, right? So if you're sick, you can't go on vacation or be... off grid or whatever, right? Away from signal, for example. You actually have to be there, right? Because at least with scheduling here on the YouTube side, for example, I can schedule it for, let's say it was a Halloween thing or a Christmas thing, for example. I could schedule it in advance and be like, hey, now I can just enjoy the Christmas. My videos are already going to be out there. I don't have to worry about it. I don't even have to be online to double check that, right? I can check on the comments, the messages, the reply the next day. So hopefully that makes sense, because I noticed that one of these things that just kind of, I noticed that I kind of wish some of these would allow scheduling, because as a content creator, you're always trying to, like, stay ahead in terms of videos and stuff like that, and kind of, because you're trying to match up on let's say, on a Halloween thing, Christmas thing, right? You want to time that well. Like I said, like I said, no one's probably, who's searching for a Halloween right now? It's like the middle of December now. November now, right? Everyone's thinking about the next thing now. You guys in the US are probably thinking about Thanksgiving, for example, right? No one's really searching for or looking up Halloween things, right? Or very rarely, or very minimal, right? Maybe there might be one person, but it's nowhere near like how it was, like, let's say a month ago, right? back in October. If you go back in October to October 15th, right? People are probably searching that because they're getting ready for said holiday, like Halloween, for example, right? Because I've noticed that, at least for me, if I put out a video like that the next day, the day after, a week later, it doesn't do as well because it's not people are not actively searching for that at that moment because that event or that time has passed. If that makes any sense. You love Instagram. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Instagram will save them in your archive and then post. Yeah, but you have to be there online. As far as I know, right? I actually have to set. I can save it, but it says if you want to save it or share it. There's no like way to schedule that in advance, right? Which means you need to be online on Instagram, for example, to actually share it at the time that you want to share it, all right? Because the scheduling also works with the time, right? So you can schedule it for 4 p.m. in the afternoon, local time, right? Let's just say it's a food thing, right? And you're showing something about dinner. You can actually time that, for example, here on the YouTube side for like 6 p.m. local time, whatever your local time is, right? And chime that into that kind of sweet period of time that you can actually put that in, right? And the timing of it too, right? Because sometimes videos are all about timing too, right? Because early bird gets the worm or whatever, right? If you're a little late to it, it's like, well, maybe people kind of stop searching for it or don't want to watch that kind of thing anymore because they're watching the next thing kind of deal, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, there might be some people that might watch it or whatever, right? But there might be some people who are like, they're not searching for it or whatever, and you might actually miss someone searching for it because you decide to put it the day after, 2 days later, 3 days later, right? There's a certain period of time where it's kind of hard to follow, at least in my opinion. This is why I don't actually schedule certain things, let's say, like a Halloween thing beyond Halloween or whatever. I make sure that it will actually be before that date just to time it well. Because like I said, some things like Halloween, certain situations or events, right? It's that timing of putting it in there. So as a content creator, it's something to be aware of, right? Because I've seen other people doing that where they kind of add that kind of stuff. You could tell that it's a placeholder. They've added this content in right away. It might have been scheduled. They might have added regularly scheduled videos, but they've kind of decided to, okay, instead of this week having this video A, I'm gonna put video B because it's more applicable. For example, I believe the timing is better if I put it now. For this Friday instead of waiting, for example. That video A I can delay it, for example, because it's not seasonal dependent or an event dependent, for example. You know what I mean? Like, even for Canada Day, for example, for me, I try to post on that day as if I'm actually doing that. For example, like one of my videos that I posted about some kit that I found. It was a Canadian Red Cross type of thing, right? I was like, I timed it for Canada Day because I was just like, I'm trying to piggyback on that timing as much as possible. I just figured, you know what? I had a couple opportunities for the timing of it. I'm like, either I can do it in July or wait till September for it. I'm like, no, I'll do it and premiere it on that day. And that's what I did. That's what I did for it. So hopefully that actually makes sense. Because this is one of those things, yeah, and stuff like that, right? Okay, there. Let's see here. I'm just gonna remove that temporary right here. I'm bringing my earthing here. Speak of Canadian. I'll bring this up on screen here. Let me just overlay this on the screen here. Alright, a couple more minutes here. What's up, Tuck? Okay, there. Okay, there. Like you didn't know. Like, you didn't know it's just my channel icon for like years now. Since I updated it. Actually, I had to put that in just for everyone. Everyone thought I was American for some reason. I actually had to put that just for that reason. Enough said, you know, stuff like that. Now, you know, as I kind of draw this stream to an end and all this stuff, right? I think I've talked about enough about the scheduling, you know, because like I said, I'm actually working. I'm like, see, another thing is, I should actually say, right? I can actually take the time to do these live streams that I've been doing this week and not shoot video because I actually have video in advance. I don't actually have to be like, oh, I gotta, choose, right? I can actually make the choice. I still have time to record later or whatever, right? But as far as you guys know, the video's there, all right? You guys don't know when it's scheduled unless I tell you. Or unless, people post it, right? Or whatever. Like this one video, like I said, where I shot it back in like September, right? I've just been waiting. I'm like, well, like I said, it's not seasonally dependent, so I've just been putting it on the back burner, right? Just not procrastinating, but kind of delaying it because I'm like, and it's just one of my what I call filler videos, right? Where, it doesn't really matter when I post it, generally speaking, right? Because it's not seasonally dependent, and stuff like that. But some of the stuff like, for example, earlier in the year, some of this winter-related stuff, I'm like, I gotta post this first, right? Because once April, May comes along, no one's gonna be looking at that stuff. At least not in the Northern Hemisphere, for example, right? So I made sure, I'm like, okay. Because I actually needed some buffer zone of time so I can actually get the seed started for this springtime kind of thing, like the gardening stuff that I put out. And I'm like, yeah. And I kind of glad, okay, I got a buffer zone of that. And this where it comes back to having ideas ready in advance. Oh, yeah. I gotta remember them. I almost forgot about that. I gotta remember what the day. Yeah. All right, Jay. I got you on that one. I'll try to jump by on that after this. But yeah, it's just one of those things I just kind of gotta remember. That it helps as much as possible. I mean, it's just like setting up a premiere on the YouTube side, for example, right? Now hopefully, if you set up a premiere on the YouTube side, hopefully the host actually shows up. It's actually nice when the host is actually there, by the way. I try to not actually premiere something without actually knowing that I'm going to be there. I'd rather actually be there as much as possible because people are there on the side chat, right? So it's nice to be there with with the host and communicate, right? Not just say hi and, and all that stuff, reconnect, but actually ask a question, right? Right away. And get an answer right away, for example, right? I'm back up to 5. I didn't realize. Well, at this rate, I might as well just add this back in. I might as well just add this back into the mixer. I'll just add this back in here. I might as well just add this dance sequence back into the mix. Again. Since I got some more people again. I know, I'm not planning to go that much longer. Because actually, I kind of need a break. And charge my phone. Among some other things. I'll just let this play. For a little bit of time. Actually, let me zoom this out. I'm actually trying to mix this in, like almost like a DJ would, and just kind of work with this, right? Working with the music and what I show in video, which is kind of fun actually. Like this, I think this is one of the things I like about this app is this interactive thing. It's a little bit different from some of this other stuff. Right there. Looks like I'm giving a hug. Or something like that. And I'll just fill this in. I'll just remove this out from the side. Alright, we'll just put this right there. Bring my chat back here. So, for the last couple minutes here of the stream, I appreciate our content creators out there dropping by, you know, and of course the viewers out there, right? Shout out to the replay gang if you're catching this, right? And hopefully you found something informative about this. As much as I showed the entertainment value of this, right? I decided to, like I said, entertainment value and some knowledge in there and some, you know, things to keep in mind. Because a lot of the stuff I wish I knew better, if not at all. I wish I knew when I first started, right? I mean, things have changed on the platform, but and amongst some other things, but this is the kind of stuff I wish I knew, you know? There's videos out there you can learn some more stuff and stuff like that, right? You know, jot down those ideas that you get whenever you get them, right? You know, like, spur of the moment, just kind of keep that notepad or whatever. You know, if you want to go digital or whatever, or if you want to go old school on a piece of paper. You know, kind of jot them down. Even if you have a good memory, right? Just kind of let it on paper just so you can explore or web or explore the idea, kind of like different tangents and stuff like that, and kind of keep organized with it, right? So if you're doing the scheduling thing, you'd be like, okay, video 1, yes, I've uploaded this, but it hasn't gone public yet, for example. Video 2, I've uploaded it, it hasn't gone public yet, because it's still scheduled in, right? And you could be like working these ideas in and be like even for me, I have this book that I've been using for like the last few little bit here. I'm not going to show you because there's actually ideas in here and content that, well, you'll have to wait to see. But, you know, I wrote something and I just wrote UL, which means it's been uploaded. I just haven't, it's not public yet. It's scheduled, for example, right? And then there's these other ones that I'm like, okay, well, I haven't tried this yet. I still want to pull this off. Well, I still haven't recorded this resource hole video yet. For example, for me, you know, these resource hole videos, I know it takes me a little bit more time to set that up. Set it up, record it. It's going to be a longer video. It's going to take more storage capacity. It's going to fill the device more. I need more storage for it, right? Take a little bit more time, right? And since I have a buffer zone for the rest of the month of videos, I can actually start recording that video, set it up, right? Schedule it, let's say maybe as early as next month, for example, and be like, okay, now I can get that out of the way and start focusing on something else. Like, say, another sewing video, for example, and schedule that in advance, right? Maybe even another one, for example, and be like, oh, hey, you know what? Okay, I need some content for December. Okay, I'll squeeze one in, all right? But if I have more content available, ideas for December, I can postpone it till the new year, for example, and kind of have these videos in advance. Because back to the gardening thing, right? What do the gardeners have for content during the winter time? Right? All the gardeners have content during the spring, summer, and fall. You know, what kind of content are you going to make during the winter, right? Are you going to talk about indoor gardening? Maybe you have a grow light system, right? Instead of showing that grow light system maybe during the summer, you kind of wait and show it in the winter where you don't actually have as much content to use because you can't physically grow outside, and you're only showing things inside through containers, you know, hydroponic, aeroponics, whatever that kind of system is, right? And going from there. So, something to keep in mind. So, everyone, let me dance a little bit more for the stream. Dun, 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 dun. I appreciate everyone dropping by on this stream. Hopefully you found it educational and entertaining. I'm just winging it with this beat right now. It sounded better right here. Anyways, I'm gonna slide this out. And so everyone, like always, I'll bring this back up. Let's see, make sure anything else. Nope. Okay, I don't see any comment. Alright, guys. Go out there and do something awesome out there, alright? You know, if you're a content creator, go record something, alright? Maybe schedule it. Schedule that next video, alright? I hope to see more of your guys' content out there, alright? Because your guys' content, not all of it, but some of it out there, motivates me to want to do something, right? Might motivate someone else to do something. And maybe this video / replay or whatever may motivate you to like try something new and just try it out, right? Just try it out, you know? Hopefully, maybe it'll work for you, right? Because success comes from trying and actually maintaining something, right? Practicing, right? Those all-stars out there, right? They're not always just naturally gifted or whatever. Sometimes they gotta put a little bit of effort in, right? So, put that legwork into it as much as possible. So everyone, like always, our world's changing out there, and we can adapt to. Our skill and knowledge can get better with practice. Try to help someone out there if you can. And until the next video for me, take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. And it's peace out from the one known as CreatoR. Take care.